Hey, it's Jonathan McGinley, a Maxwell certified coach, speaker, and trainer, and the founder of Intentional Man, an organization that exists to inspire and equip men to live intentionally, pursue God-sized goals, and build lives of significance. A major issue that we're seeing today in the lives of men is just the decline of close friendships. Maybe you've felt this in your life, maybe you've noticed this, but I was looking up some statistics on this and found that since 1990, the amount of men who say they have 6 or more good friends has declined from 55% of men to now being around 27%. And the amount of men who say that they have 0 close friends, no close relationships with other male friends, has increased from 3% to about 15% of men today. So 15% of men today are saying that they have 0 close relationships. And there's a bunch of different factors that have contributed to this, such as, social media or just busyness. Maybe it was the COVID pandemic. I'm not going to dive into all of that today, but for this training, I want to help you think about the friendships you have, or maybe that you don't have right now, but talk about how you can be more intentional in developing and cultivating close friendships. Our desire to connect with people on a real, authentic, and deep level is what drives a lot of what we do, right? I think a lot of the things that you do, a lot of it is driven by social pressures or the need to fit in or the need to have connection. And that could come in a variety of different ways. That can be with friends. It can be with a significant other. It can be with family. But I absolutely believe that it's vital to your happiness in life that you have some other close friendships that you can do life with. So let me ask you a question here. How intentional have you been recently in developing and also cultivating close friendships in your life? How intentional have you been? Have you been proactive in this area? Or is this one of those areas that's been really reactive? Have you left it up to chance, or have you made this area in your life a priority and proactively taken the steps to make sure that you have some deep friendships in your life? These are good questions to ask yourself, right? Whether you have a lot of friends or not, like anything in life, it takes some effort and it takes some intentionality to make sure that this area of your life is thriving. So when things are out of sight, when they're out of mind, when they're just left to chance, you usually don't get that good of results. That's what we talk about all the time in this podcast and these trainings is living with intentionality. Anything in life that is worth having takes time and it takes some effort. And I believe that this area of having good quality friendships is worth putting in the time and the effort. So I want to give you a few quick just tips and some points here today to make sure that you're making the most out of your friendship. So first, this is one thing that I've worked on recently. It's critical. You must actually define what a good friendship means to you and what it actually looks like. Like, have you ever taken the time in your life to just sit down and think about what's important to you in your friendships? I know I hadn't much until recently. And the problem with friendships sometimes is that we completely just leave them up to chance, right? We assume that they're automatically going to happen. We assume that they should just naturally happen without any sort of work or without any sort of intentionality. So we don't put a lot of thought into what would actually make a good friendship or who a person is that actually would worth be having in your life. So I want to ask you today, what kind of factors would make a meaningful friendship? What kind of things would define a meaningful friendship for you? So I know I had never really asked myself this question until a coach asked me. All of my friendships were pretty much formed because we had common interests, because we were in close proximity. We got along really well. We had a ton of fun together. And of course, those things are great. And they usually lasted if they were fun, but that was mainly the criteria. So, of course, like I said, having somebody that you enjoy being around and have fun with obviously is important parts of the criteria. But what else makes a good friendship for you? Have you ever actually thought about that? What else makes a good friendship? When I was asked that question, I gave a lot of answers like, someone I know I can trust, someone who's there for me when I need them, someone who encourages me and supports me, challenges me, brings out the best, somebody who pushes me to be a better man, somebody who pushes me to love the Lord more, right? Those are things that we would all want in a relationship, but have you taken the time to sit down and define those out? And so he asked me then, my coach, after I gave him those, if that was a criteria that I used to choose my current friends. And I was like, oh man, that's a great question. The answer, honestly, was no. And that doesn't mean that some of my friends don't have those things. A lot of them naturally do, which is amazing. But it wasn't like the criteria that I used to choose these friendships or to go deeper with some of these people. So what is important to you in a friendship? I'd encourage you to just take some time to actually define that in your life. It's something that's easy to never think about, but it's extremely important to define so you can have clarity on the kinds of friendships that you want to develop. So that's the first part, is define what's meaningful. After you've defined what's meaningful to you in a friendship, then you need to ask yourself if you are getting that out of your current friendships. Are you getting those things out of your current friendships? If the answer is yes, amazing. You're a very small percent of the population. If the answer is no, that's okay. It's a pretty normal response, but you need to think about how you can develop that in your life. And I've heard some personal growth experts say that you should just immediately cut those people out of your life, right? If you're not getting what you need from them, if you're not getting those things that you define, just cut them out. But I don't believe that that's the best place to start. I really don't. Before cutting anyone out of your life, you must first ask yourself, am I the type of friend that is giving those things to others, right? You have to start with yourself. It's so easy to blame other people without first looking inward. So I had to take an honest look at the list that I made and ask myself, am I doing those things for my friends? Am I somebody that encourages, supports, and challenges? Am I somebody that's pushing them to be a better man, pushing them to pursue the Lord more? Am I somebody that would show up when they need it? Am I consistently checking in? These are things that you have to ask yourself. And if the answer to those questions is no, then that's the first step that you got to do, is you must first become that friend before you expect your friends to do that for you, right? This is huge. You can't expect people to do for you what you're not doing for them. You cannot just like quickly get rid of these relationships, these friendships, if you're first not putting in any effort or intentionality yourself. Okay? So you have to take ownership for this. You have to be a model of what you are looking for in a friend first. After you have your list of what's meaningful in the friendship, immediately flip that criteria to yourself and ask yourself if you're doing each of those things. If not, get started there. So I guarantee you, as you become a more intentional friend, as you do some of those things, that your friends, that the friends that are actually worth keeping, they're going to reciprocate those things back to you. And if you put forth that kind of effort and intentionality first, and you do it for a consistent time over and over and over, and they're not reciprocating that, then maybe that's the point where you really reflect on the relationship and see if it's one that you want to continue with. Right? So another tip here to developing great friendships that goes right in line with that is you have to take ownership of being the initiator. Of being an initiator. And this is something we're not very good at doing, right? When things get busy, we don't initiate and we just hope that our friends are going to reach out to us and ask us to hang out. But you cannot leave things to chance. You cannot leave things to being reactive. We want to be proactive. And if you believe that having good friendships is important, then you need to start taking steps to be more of the initiator. Most of your friends probably want to hang out. Just neither of you are being the leader and neither of you are making it happen. You're not putting in the effort to organize something. So if you're looking for better friendships, just take the ownership of being somebody who reaches out to your friends to hang out. You know, I've heard from so many guys that are frustrated and feeling lonely, but when I ask them when was the last time that they organized a hangout for their friends, they can't think of an answer. So again, we cannot be frustrated with other people if we're not willing to do the same work ourselves. So be the initiator. Put in a little effort. Friendships do take some work, but it's worth the effort. And honestly, it's not that hard. You just send a text, ask when they want to hang out, ask them if they want to go grab a drink, if they want to play some golf, whatever it is. This doesn't have to be something major. Or you can literally just text them, just say, man, how's it going? Just wanted to check in. Just be some sort of initiator where it's on your mind, where you're reaching out to the people that you want to be your close friends. So make sure you're being an initiator. After you've defined what's meaningful, you've evaluated yourself to make sure you're being intentional, and you've worked on becoming the initiator, the last thing would be to actually take a friendship inventory. And maybe you've heard this from different people before, but actually take an inventory of your friendships. What I mean by this is write down a list of all your friends. So I'd encourage you to write down old friends, new friends, people from the past, because a lot of times you'll think of somebody from high school that you actually want to keep in your life. It's just been a while. So think through high school times, think through college, childhood friends, different jobs you've had, your church community. Write down the names of your friends. And this isn't some weird thing to rank them with all this crazy criteria. Don't be that friend. But this is for you to just see all the people in your life on a list and then determine if they're going to be more of a casual friend in your life or if they're going to be one of your true growth close friends. So by casual friend, I mean somebody that you would, you want to stay in touch with them every now and then, but it's not incredibly important to you to work super hard at growing and cultivating the friendship. So these could be people you like to golf with, or you like to hike with, or just grab a beer with, but not people that you see becoming your close, lifelong friends. And that's totally okay. But then after that, determine who in your life you want to really invest in the friendship with. Who's going to be that close friend? Who's going to be your growth friend? When you're determining this, look at the list of those things that you defined as meaningful and see if these friends either currently fit that criteria or you believe that they can grow into that criteria. So it's okay if they're not perfect now, especially if you haven't been living out all of those characteristics yourself. They don't have to be perfect, but just look at the friendships and see, hey, can we get to that level where we're really pushing each other, challenging each other, and encouraging each other? So determine who those guys are and then commit to actually growing that friendship. Commit to being proactive and intentional in that friendship. A growth friendship is where you can both encourage one another to chase after your dreams. It's where you actually make some space every now and then to talk about life and to go deeper than just sports, work, or girls, right? It's someone who encourages you. You feel inspired when you leave. You both challenge one another to be better men. You actually talk about God and what he's doing in your life. How often do you do that with some of the people you call your best friends? How often are you actually talking about your dreams? How often are you talking about your big goals? How often are you talking about what the Lord is doing in your life, what you're learning, how you're growing? The tough things that are going on in your life, how often are you actually doing that? So the growth friendships, these are real friendships where you can know this person's got your back and you have theirs. And as men, it can be difficult, right, to talk about these deeper things. So you have to be intentional with each other to go there more often than you do than just some of your casual friends. So growth friends are people that I believe that you should see in person. I'm going to challenge you. I think you should see them in person at least once a month. If these are people that you really want to do life with, you want to say, hey, we're going to push each other to be better, to support each other, I think you should be seeing them face to face at least once a month. If they're long distance, it's okay. Do a Zoom call, do a FaceTime, but see this person on a regular basis because it's easy. I could ask you who some of your closest friends are. You could probably name them, but then I could ask you when the last time is that you saw them, and it might be months, it might be years. So make it a point to see them once a month in person. I also believe you should have some sort of touch point just every week or two. Send them a text, give them a call, whatever it is, have some sort of touch point where you're just checking in on each other. So that's all it is. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but make sure you're checking in every 1 or 2 weeks and you guys are hanging out once a month. And then I also think that these close friends, these growth friends, these are the ones that you should do the adventures with. Set up times to play golf together, go hunting, go fishing, go hiking. Work out together. Those have been some of my best friends when we go into the gym and we just work out together and push each other in that way. That's a great way to kind of form that bonding friendship. So I think going on adventures with friends, these are super important to the friendship. So you should also have a ton of fun when you hang out with these guys too. They should be people that you look forward to being with. They should be people who charge your battery instead of drain it. So make sure they're actually people you love being with as well. A lot of times, you probably already have these friends. You really probably already have these friends or people in your life who could be these friends. You just need to be more intentional with them to get to this level. And so if you're listening to this, I would encourage you to be the initiator. Be the one to take the first step. You don't have to be weird. Just tell them you'd love to invest in their life and then actually just do it. Just do it together. Tell them you're looking to really grow as a man. Tell them you're looking to pursue some big dreams and you would love their support. And then ask them what their dreams are. Ask them what their goals are. Ask them how you can help them reach that. That really is all I'm talking about here. Take a little bit of time, ask some good questions, listen to their answers, and then try to cultivate that. So it's crazy what happens to a friendship when you actually just ask real life questions instead of just keeping it surface level. So I'm not asking you to fill out some friendship assessment or interrogate them. I'm just asking you, how can you bring intentionality to the friendship to make sure you're both supporting each other the best you can? That could be a question that you ask them. Hey, how can I support you the best that I can? How can I be there for you as a friend? And just go from there. That's all it takes. So as you invest in this friendship, I believe that they typically will invest back in you. As you call yourself higher to be a better friend, it's going to call them higher. As you're a role model and pursue your dreams and pursue your full potential, you're going to inspire them to do the same. We're better as men when we do life together. We're better when we're not alone. When we don't have friends, we don't have teammates to do life with, that's usually when we start to coast, right? That's usually when we start to go through the motions and we do life on cruise control, or we feel isolated and we don't have anyone to talk to or anyone to do life with. So putting in a little time and effort to be more intentional with your friendships, I promise you will pay huge dividends. So start again by defining what's actually meaningful to you in a friendship. Make sure you're clear on that. Then make sure you're doing those things for your friends, that you're taking ownership. Become more of the initiator to set up some of these hangouts, and then just evaluate your current friends and determine the guys that you really want to pour into and start being more intentional in that relationship. So hope today's training was valuable to you. This would be a great one to send to one of your friends to help start that conversation. So I'd encourage you to share this with some of your close friends and then just discuss it together. Ask each other how you can better be there for them and push each other to be better men. So start there. But thanks for joining today. Go live a life you're proud of by living intentionally.